All right, let's jump back across the ocean. The Women's Super League season kicking off Friday over in England. It's a league that's been dominated by Chelsea of late. They've won the last 5 league titles, but Arsenal have been knocking on the door. And with Emma Hayes' departure, there's some out there thinking this could be Arsenal's year. Well, to that point, England international Leah Williamson, who of course plays for Arsenal as well, recently sat down with our Emily Keogh to discuss the upcoming season for Arsenal and much more.
What is that kind of focus feeling like so far? Obviously, it's a massive season and, you know, you probably haven't had as many trophies as you would have wanted as a club in the past couple of seasons. So I guess, do you feel a bit of pressure this season, or is it more taking it game by game and just riding it?
Yeah, it's funny because there's certain things that like you sort of figure out and you iron out as you get into it and you realise what sort of team you're going to be. But the bottom line is, I don't even think there's really pressure. It's more of a factual thing. Like, we have underachieved in the last couple of years. We didn't get Champions League last year. So for us, it's like, how are we going to do that? Rather than focusing on the pressure and the emotion around it, is just, what do we need to do to get over this line? And then once that line's gotten over, the next, and the next, you know? So we're on like the 3rd consecutive year of sort of no break, if you think about summer tournaments and stuff, and it does play into it. You want people to be fresh. I don't want people not engaged by Christmas, you know? So yeah, we're figuring it out, but it's been good at the minute, I think.
Yeah, you touched a little bit there on fans. As a lifelong fan of the club, playing every game at the Emirates, what is that like? Did you ever think that you'd say that you're playing all your home games at the Emirates?
I never even let myself think of that. You know, like, I think dreaming of being a professional footballer was big enough. That was almost crazy enough when I was growing up. So I just think how fast it's happened. These are conversations that we've been having, and then all of a sudden, wow, we actually can do that. And, you know, I think about my family, and they come and watch, and they get to watch on a comfy seat. And, you know, my mum stood and watched me play football for years with an umbrella, and all of a sudden she's coming to the stadium to watch us week in, week out, which is lovely. But also just in a performance sense, like, it's incredible. The facilities are incredible for us, for the away team. It's what women's football deserves. So I'm very proud to be part of the club. And I mean, I think everybody saw last year I was very emotional when I came on in the first sellout because I'd missed a couple. So yeah, it makes me feel a bit like nervous thinking about it now.
And I guess lastly, ahead of the season, what do you think the team need to do to really kick on and lift that WSL trophy again?
I think you have to, you know, winning breeds winning, and we haven't done it for so long that almost you kind of have to go to the next level. You know, you have to do more than what everybody else is doing to win. I think we're building in the right direction. I don't think we need to scrap everything and start again. I just think we need to be committed to deciding what we want to do, and if that is to win, then it takes everything. It takes every day. It's a whole season's worth of work. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Interesting there to hear Williamson's perspective on kind of chasing Chelsea. Did that remind you at all of your time in Germany? Because I know that the league structure there was a little bit similar, right? Yeah,
it was a lot similar. I think that Turbine Potsdam was always at the top of the table, and we were always chasing them. I think we fell like, you know, 2nd or 3rd every season, and so they were the team to beat, along with Wolfsburg and sometimes Bayern Munich. So us 4 at the top of the table were always competitive and always, you know, wanting to, you know, be the best, just like everyone else. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities in that, and so yeah, I can relate to what she was saying, and you just have to continue to focus on how you can control your own individual play and the team play, because if you take care of the little details, and the bigger details will take care of themselves. And I think that's how you kind of have to go into every season, and just have the mentality that every time you show up, you just gotta, you know, give your best and control the controllables.
Of course, we know Emma Hayes used to coach Chelsea, now in charge of the U.S. women's national team. One of your former teammates with the Washington Freedom, not Spirit, this is back in the day, the WPS day, Washington Freedom, Sonia Bonpastor, the French international, now in charge of Chelsea. What do you make of that?
I think it's interesting because when I played with Sonia, she was very quiet, she was very shy, she was very reserved, brilliant on the ball. Like, she was an incredible footballer. But to see her in a role of this type of leadership position, yeah, it's not shocking, but it's interesting to me because of her demeanor. But I think that's also valuable in a leadership position because when she would speak, everyone would listen. So you knew every time she had something to say that it was of value. And I think that's something that's, attractive for a head coach that, I really trusted her. I believed in what she said. I believed in her ability. And so kind of, extending that to this type of, level and job for her, I think is perfect. And I think that, younger players who have looked up to her, for all these years kind of have that different respect for her. And that I think that's a great, great start.
And who would have thought that we would get a Washington Freedom reference here in the year 2024? We do have one more clip from Leah Williamson's interview here where she's making a comparison between the WSL and the National Women's Soccer League. Let's check it out.
You've played your whole career in the WSL.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the biggest difference between the WSL and the NWSL?
I think the style of, or how the game sort of pans out, I think the WSL might look slower, but in terms of like the tactical changes and the small tweaks and just the way that people play the game is slightly different. I think when you play an American team, you know that it's going to be intense, the ball's going to be moving. They play football, but it's just different. I don't know. I think that's always been the main difference is like how quickly their game goes front to back and then back the other way. Where it's not uncommon in the UK for teams to keep possession for 2 minutes. Yeah. It was interesting, but obviously the manager, the way that he plays football, it was kind of two teams matching up in the end.
Interesting, Ali. What do you make of the comparison? Is she onto something there?
Yeah, she is. I do think that the NWSL, that's just a transitional game. It's the pace of the game is super quick. It's very direct. And over in Europe, what I found, I had more time on the ball. Because in the NWSL, everyone's sometimes running around with their heads cut off. It's just a bit of, just high press and how fast you can press a team. And I think that's not as often, with teams in Europe. And I think that you had more time on the ball, that you had to really play smarter. And I think that's where I gained a lot of my technical ability. That improved tremendously there because I did have time on the ball, but then I also had to play quick just within, between the lines and, did a lot of rondos within players. But it was actually, I mixed the two styles, I think, and then kind of came up with my own. So I was really grateful for that, to be able to bring that back, and that's eventually what helped me kind of get to the next level with the national team.
Do you see the NWSL changing at all in this regard? Because I feel like certainly we just talked about it with the addition of Giraldes, right? That's a manager with an identity. Vlatko Ananovsky, these are managers who kind of like to play. They have a system, if not a style, that they go with. Is the NWSL maybe in that regard catching up a little bit to what we were just hearing about there from Europe? Yeah,
I do believe that, especially with these, European coaches coming over and kind of instilling this possession-style game. Just like last year with Juan Carlos, we started playing brilliantly because it was something new, it was something fresh, it was different ideas, a tactical plan.
Do you think it caught the rest of the league a little bit off guard because it was so different?
I think so, because in previous years, it was almost like a kick-and-run game. It was, let's play it over the top because we had fast-paced forwards to get on the end of it. How quickly can we get the ball forward and play direct? And so sometimes we would just even skip the midfield. And then last year, I remember, we would always play through. Either the six would drop down in between the center backs, or you would find, the six in little pockets, and to be able to turn and to face forward and then beat lines with the pass. So I think that was just more attractive, and I think we started just to figure out the personnel, build the relationships, and then you can perform the way that is expected of you.
And remind me what happened at the end of last year? That's right, they won it all. So listen to your coaches, especially when they're trying something new.